So, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back once more to Powell's Kitchen. It's been a while since I've been in the kitchen whipping up a storm so that you can have wonderful, beautiful and lovely tasting food on your table. Today, yes, I'm going to make some pumpkin rice with soya, and guess what? This is the pumpkin that I've harvested from the garden. Yes, there's another one, and we're going to make some pumpkin rice with some stir fry soya. Well, I say stir fry, but it's more stew than stir fry. So stew soya, pumpkin rice with stew soya. So for me, I just get a spoon and I just take the seeds out just like that. Just scoop it out. Just scoop it out. Here it is. Easy peasy. Just scoop it out, and then we've got that beautiful piece of pumpkin there, and I use a knife. I prefer using a knife than a potato peeler. If that's what you prefer, you use it, but for me, using a knife is easy, very easy for me, so I prefer it, and that's it, done. So after that, dice it up, Jamaican style dicing, and I pop them in this bowl. We don't want them too small, yeah, because we don't want the pumpkin to dissolve and turn porridge. So you have to keep that in consideration, yes, when you're going to cook it. When you're going to boil the pumpkin, you need to keep in consideration that you don't want it to be overcooked. Don't want it to be overcooked. So while you're cooking the rice, it's easy for you to overcook the pumpkin. So I'll show you how not to let that happen. So I'm gonna cut these up, and when I finish, we'll pop some water in the pot and we'll get bubbling. So I've finished cut up the pumpkin. Now I'm going to give them a quick wash to make sure that they are nice and clean. And that's it, nice and wash. So ladies and gentlemen, this pumpkin rice recipe consists of some Celtic salt, which is 1 teaspoon of Celtic salt, 1 teaspoon of Vegeta Natural, and 2 tablespoons liberal, 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. So we've got the Celtic salt, very good for you, Celtic salt, Vegeta Natural, many seasoning, The reason why we use Vegeta Natural, yes, is because almost all the condiments, the seasoning, they have monosodium glutamide inside, and that's cancer all over. So we choose to use natural products only, and the coconut oil. Yeah, so those are the 3 seasoning, so to speak, that I'm putting inside the pumpkin rice, yeah, to give it a bit of flavor. That's what I'm going to put inside. Okay, so that's the woodpecker there on the light. He seems to have a very big love for plastic, and every morning, every evening, well, most evening, but you can guarantee that in the morning this woodpecker will be pecking away at the plastic, sharpening his beak, no doubt, but it's one of the joys of country living. Look at it, look at it, pecking away. That's it. Hopefully you will get in there one day. You keep on working hard. So let's get cooking, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get cooking, ladies and gentlemen. I've got the pumpkin inside the pot, and I'm gonna leave it to boil, for the water to boil, and then when the water starts boiling, I'll put the seasoning in, yes, and after that I'll wash the rice and I'll pop the rice in as well. I'm just basically going to let the pumpkin, yes, medium cook. I don't want the pumpkin to be fully cooked before I put the rice in. I want just to make the pumpkin medium cook, and when it's medium cooked, then I'll put the rice in, and then I'll steam the rice, and by the time the rice is cooked, the pumpkin will be fully cooked also. I'm doing it this way because I do not want it to turn pumpkin soup instead of pumpkin rice. Okay, so follow me through the steps. So ladies and gentlemen, while I have the pumpkin rice on the go, I'm going to start preparing the soya, and this is Sanovita soya. We are in Romania, so it's in Romanian, but soya you can get in almost every country now, if not every country. It's quite popular. So this is what I am going to whip up my style of soya. There are so many ways to prepare soya. A lot of people think that soya can't be nice because it doesn't have any taste, but actually the taste comes from the season that you put in it, yes, and how you cook it. This I can get this soya finger licking good. So let's go. I'm gonna pop it in this pot, and all I'm going to do now is put some water in it and boil it. So if you are wondering how much water to put in it, I put enough water in it to cover it. It may not look like it's covered, but it's because at the moment it's floating because it haven't rehydrated yet. But as soon as it's rehydrated, you will see that is actually a lot of water inside. Me, because I like the flavor to be boiled into the soya, I'm going to share one of my little tricks with you. The same Vegeta Natural, I put a teaspoon, yes, I put a teaspoon inside of it, yeah, and that will, when it start to boil, when it start to cook, the flavor will boil into the soya to start to enhance the taste as we go along. So I'm gonna put this to boil, and when it's finished boiling, I'll show you what to do with it. So the pumpkin is on the boil now. Now I'm gonna start adding the seasoning. So here you are, the salt, the coconut oil, and the Vegeta Natural. So I pop the salt in, the coconut oil, not the Vegeta Natural, I'll pop that in as well, and I'll put the coconut oil in, and as I said before, this is to give flavor. This is to add flavor to the mix, and as you can see, okay, I need to show you now what I meant by medium cooking the pumpkin. Now look at that. You see? I can use my finger to squish it. Yeah? That tells me it's cooked enough already. So I'm gonna turn the fire all the way down, very, very low. Yeah? Because I don't want it to cook too much any further. So I turn the fire down very low, and now I'm going to put the rice in. So for this recipe, I'm using 500 grams of basmati rice. Now, basmati rice is not the best rice that you can use. Yeah, there are better rice out there. Many people would argue that brown rice is better, but I say Asian grains, these are the better ones. Actually, if you can stay away from white rice, is the best to stay away. If you can't, do like me. I don't eat a lot, once in a while. Yeah, and eventually this I'm going to cut from my diet completely. I've cut out a lot of things from my diet, and this is one of the things that I'm going to cut from my diet as well, and get a nice substitute. There are many different substitutes that you can use instead of rice that tastes very, very good. For example, couscous. Most people don't like couscous, but if you know how to cook couscous, it can be very nice as well. So I'm going to use 500 grams of basmati rice. Also, if you're wondering why I don't stress on the amount of pumpkin that you need to use, yes, as long as the amount of pumpkin that you're using is not more than the rice, yes, then it's all right. Yeah, because you don't want more rice than pumpkin. So you don't want more rice than pumpkin. So as long as the pumpkin is less than the amount of rice that you're putting in there, it's fine. So I know that some people don't wash the rice, but me, I have to wash my rice. Yes, this is a Jamaican thing that is ingrained into me. When you're cooking rice, you need to wash it. So me, depending on the rice, I wash it 2 to 3 times. That's just me. Yeah, maybe I'm overdoing it, but I don't think so, because I remember this African lady. She washed the rice about 5 times, and after she washed the rice about 5 times, yeah, she put it in boiling water, and she put it through the strainer, and basically the idea is to take as much of the starch out as possible. Whatever she's washing, she probably washing the rice out of the rice, the amount of time she washed it. But that's how she do it. Me, I wash 2-3 times, and that's enough for me not to lose any sleep that I didn't wash my rice. So I'm gonna pop the rice in, and I'm gonna leave it to steam and simmer down. So pay attention now to see how it looks from this point on, so that you can have a good idea, of the ratio of rice, pumpkin and water. So basically, the amount of water you have in there is depending on the amount of rice that you are making. Yeah, if you want to make good rice all the time, yeah, and I'm not talking about risotto, I'm talking about dry Chinese rice, or this is Jamaican pumpkin rice, by the way. If you want to make good rice all the time, yeah, just put enough water in the pot to cover the rice. That's all you need to do. When you do that, just turn the stove down on very, very low heat, yeah, and let it steam. Now I'm going to show you a trick. After this start to boil a bit, yeah, I'm going to show you a trick to get the rice nice and shelly. Nice and shelly. Not risotto rice. We don't want the rice sticking together. We want it to all of them to be individual grain. I'm going to show you a little trick how to get the rice like that. So remember that little trick that I said I'm going to show you? This is it. I'm going to look at the rice. The water is, you can't see the water anymore. So now what I'm going to do is just cover the rice with a bit of cling film, just like that, and leave it to steam. So while the rice is steaming and the soya is boiling, we're gonna move on to preparing the veg to make the stir fry. And here I have 5 onion. You can put how much you want to put, but me, I love to cook with a lot of onion in my dish. Yeah, healthy, is good for you. Also, I'm putting 2 cloves of garlic, and I'm putting 2 cloves of garlic because I love to cook with a lot of garlic, and plus it's good for you. Then one big bowl of vegetables from my garden. Now that's the amount I'm going to use. You can use how much you want to use, but in here is we've got sweet peppers, yeah, these long peppers, yeah, and I've also got tomatoes as well inside here from the garden. I'm gonna cut these up and then I'll show you what they look like, well, how I cut them up after. So I'm gonna start with the onion. Everybody know how to cut up onion. Yeah, me, I cut the bottom off, cut the top off, yeah, and just take the first layer off. Everybody knows how to do that. Me, I don't use any fancy machine or anything, as you can tell. For me, knife. Give it a nice wash, yeah. Pop it on the chopping board, and this is how I cut my onion, yeah. This is how I cut my onion. I just pop it in half. That's it, yeah. And then I pop it in half again, and then all I do now is just chop it up like that. And that's it, yeah. I take it up and I pop it in my bowl. That's how I'm going to cut up all these 5 onions. Now that I've finished chopping up the onion, now it's time for the garlic. Me, this is how I do my garlic. Just pop them open like that. After I pop them open, I just cut the head off, cut the tail off, and after I cut the head and tail off, that's it. So I take the skin off. There we are. That's it. Take the trash off, and there you are. That's how I do my garlic. That's how I sort my garlic out. I'm sure there's a easier way to do it, but for me, I use a knife. When I'm in the kitchen cooking, everything I'm doing, I use a knife to do it. Everything I'm doing when I'm in the kitchen, everything I'm doing, I use a knife. Yeah, all the peeling and chopping and cutting, I use a knife to do it. So that's how I'm gonna sort these garlic out. I'm not gonna use them now because these garlic, although I'm preparing it now, I'm not gonna put it in the stir fry until the stir fry is ready, because when I start to eat the stir fry, I don't want the garlic to be cooked out. I want to get that fresh garlic kick, yeah. So I'm not gonna put the garlic inside to straight away the stir fry to fry with the other vegetables. I'm going to leave it for the last minute, and then after that, when the vegetables are ready, that's the garlic there. Put the garlic in. And I'm going to give it a wash and put it aside. So I've given them a wash and I'm going to put them aside there for now. And now I'm going to move on to the vegetables. I'm going to chop them up and get them ready to go in the pot. So, me, when I'm preparing these peppers, nothing fancy, just take the seeds out, cut it in half, take the seeds out the middle, give it a wash, and cut it up. Now, you decide what size you want to cut them, yeah? For this dish, I'm making stir fry, so I'm making my peppers big so that they don't get too soft too quick. That's the reason why I'm leaving them that size. I don't want them to get too soft too quick. So that's it. Not too small, not too big. That's what I'm doing. I just pop them in here in my bowl here, and I'll just continue chopping up the rest until it's all done. There you are. Again, ladies and gentlemen, the tomatoes. Me, this is how I prepare my tomatoes. I cut the eye off. Then for this dish, I'm just gonna leave these big, so I'll just cut them in half. Cut the eye out, cut them in half, pop them in there. That's it. No special way to do it. I just cut them in half. That's all I need, because for this dish I don't want them too small. So all these tomatoes, I can say with absolute surety that they're 100% organic, because I planted them myself, and these I've taken from my garden, so I know what is inside of them. I am not going to put too much tomato inside because I don't want my stir fry to be tangy, because I'm not going to put any soy sauce inside. I'm not going to put any normal stir fry ingredients in here. All I'm putting in is just the salt, which is the Celtic salt, and the vegetal natural that I've shown you before. That's all the seasoning I'm using, along with the garlic. And so that's it. Let's check on the rice and see how it's going. After I leave the rice to after I put the plastic on the rice, I leave it to boil to steam on very low heat for another 5 minutes, and then I turn the heat off, and let's check it to see what it's looking like. Look at that, marvelous. And now, you remember I said I like my rice to be shelly? This is what I mean, shelly rice. You see that? This is not risotto rice, yeah? This is individual grain rice. Look at that beauty. Look at that beauty there. Oh, it's falling off. Individual grain rice. Yeah? And look at that pumpkin. Look at that pumpkin. Yeah? It's not completely dissolved in the pot. So this is why you don't leave it to cook too much, because you want it to cook and not dissolve along with the rice. So there we go. The rice is ready. Let's get this soya sorted. I cannot wait to taste this. So I've boiled the soya, or rehydrated it for all you fancy people out there. I've boiled it, and now all I'm going to do is I'll put that aside for a minute. Obviously, you're gonna let it cool down. I'm adding some cold water to it to help it to cool down. And basically, all I'm going to do is take a chunk of soya like this. That's it. When it's rehydrated, it's not dry and stiff anymore. Now it's very flexible, like a piece of beef. Now all I did was to squeeze some of the water out, and now I put it down and I slice it. I'm just gonna slice it in half to make it more thin. So I'm filleting it. There you go. I slice it in half to make it more thin. Fillets. Okay? And all I'm going to do is do all of them just like that. Just like that. And then so I will show you what one pack of soya, rehydrated and filleted. So now all I'm going to do is this. If you're wondering why this oil is in a water bottle, yeah, this is because this is cold pressed sunflower oil, yes, that is grown and pressed locally, 100% organic. From literally we went to buy the seed, and after we bought the seed, then we took it to the press ourselves, and we stood there and saw the entire process, how the oil is pressed. It's amazing how much oil you can get out of one bag of sunflower seed. But that's it, cold pressed sunflower oil. And all I'm going to do is to put 2 tablespoons of sunflower oil, cold press, another one for good measure inside, yeah. And now I am going to put our lovely Vegeta Natural. I'm putting two tablespoons inside. Remember, this Vegeta Natural is got does it have salt in here? Sorry, Demare. Yeah, just remember that this Vegeta Natural, just remember that this Vegeta Natural has salt in it. So You have to keep that in mind when you're seasoning. And me, I'm just going to put just half a tablespoon of our lovely Celtic salt, and all I'm going to do is rub all this in together, rub it in, get all that season mix throughout all of it, rub it in nicely. Yeah, when this is finished, you will think, if you follow the process properly, you will think that you're eating a piece of steak. But I'm not encouraging you to eat steak. I'm encouraging you to stop eating steak, because I want you to see that if you prepare the food the right way, then you can have very nice palatable food that you can use to replace all animal products. If you know what you're doing, you can use soya to replace your meat, and obviously you're not using soya only to replace your meat. You need your legumes, yeah, your peas, your beans, your nuts, your grains, all these things you need to, when you're planning to change from a meat eating diet to a vegan diet, you need to consider what you are going to replace your meat with. And the best replacement that you can use is all these protein rich vegetables, yes, legumes. Amazing. Once you start to find out how much better, yeah, source of proteins and calcium and minerals, how much better they are coming from a plant source, you don't worry about oh, what I'm going to do if I don't eat meat anymore, oh, I'm going to get my protein if I don't eat my eggs. No, that's a misconception. If you know how to, if you do your research, you will find out that you can find a much higher content of all these minerals that you need from plants, and if you cook it the right way, you will love it, you will enjoy it. So this is all seasoned, and I've rubbed the seasoning in. Now I'm going to put them in the pan, yes, in the pan, and pan fry them just with a little touch of oil, yes, just to grease the pan. And I'm going to pan fry them. After pan fry them, we set them aside, stir fry the vegetables, and then put a little touch of oil just to oil the pan, just to oil the pan. And we don't want the oil to burn, so we're going to put them in straight away. And basically all I'm doing is just putting some color on them. You know, when you go to the Chinese restaurant and they give you stir fry bean in stir fry with, I forgot what it is now because I haven't been to Chinese shop in donkey years, but you know, the one that you get with a black eyed bean, yeah. So you know how they do that meat to get it to have that tender texture, yeah. This is basically what I'm doing right now, but it's not only going to have a tender texture, it's gonna have like a little crispy texture on the outside. So here we are. Here we are. As I said, I don't want them to be over fried or burnt. I just want them to have a little color on the outside. Here we are. As you can see, they're already catching the color. So I'm going to just turn them over quickly, and that's it. We'll do the other side, and after the other side is has the nice golden color on it, then we'll take them out and put the others inside. So that's the kind of color that you're looking for, you know, to have a nice golden color on the outside. After you get this nice golden color on both sides, then it's ready. Now it's time, ladies and gentlemen, to pop the stir fry in the pot, and this is what I'm going to do. Just pop everything in. So just pop all of it in. With a bit of water. You don't want them frying. We don't want them frying like chicken. So we put a bit of water inside, and I'm just gonna stir this around. Yeah, after I finish stirring it around inside, put in a bit of dill. Yeah, like my dill. I'm putting a bit of mixed herb, some mixed herb. This one, I haven't got a clue what it is without asking my wife, but I'll pop some in anyway. So can you guess what I'm going to put in next? Have a guess. Have a guess what I'm going to put inside of the stir fry. If you've guessed Vegeta Natural, you've guessed right. So now, keeping in mind that I'll put Vegeta in practically everything else, so I'm just putting half a tablespoon inside for now, and I'll taste as I go along. So we'll mix up the veg, we'll give it a mix it up, you know, just get the herbs, yes, and the seasoning mixed throughout, you know, on everything. Get it nicely mixed up, nicely mixed there, and after that we'll pop the cover on and let it steam for a bit. Yeah, just leave it to steam for a bit to get the vegetables nice and cooked halfway through. We're not overcooking the vegetables, because obviously it's a stir fry. We just want them to have a nice, we want them to be cooked but still nice and crunchy, and that's what I'm aiming to get. So we'll just leave it to steam for a bit, and then we'll see after. So that's how the soya look after it's been fried. You can see that it's nicely brown on each side. You can see that is golden on both sides, looking very nice, and it's ready now. after the vegetables has been steamed for a bit, it's ready to be put inside the vegetable. Just steam for a few minutes and that's it, it's finished. So I leave the veg to steam for about 5 minutes and then I take the cover off because I don't want it to get too much water inside. Yeah, so now you can see the veg, they almost cooked to how I want it, and now I can have a little taste to see if I need to add more seasoning or not. And it's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. It's fine the way it is. So all I'm going to do now is add the soya to it and let it continue to steam for a little bit more. So I'm going to add the soya to it now. So these are all what I've fried, and I'm going to add everything to it. There we are. Yeah, I'm gonna get them down to the bottom of the pot as much as I can, just to absorb the juice that is inside. Yeah, all that juice that we got of the vegetables, yes, let it absorb into the soya to give it that soft, moist texture. And now I'm gonna pop the cover on and let it steam for a bit. And you remember what I said about the garlic, that I don't want my garlic to be overcooked. So what I'm going to do, I'm just gonna crush my garlic with and chop it up a little bit and put it in, yes, now, to have that little final few minutes steam, so that everything can mix in together and you get that nice strong. Now I'm going to put the garlic in to have that final steam, and I've basically crushed the garlic. I'm not going to tell you how to cut your garlic up. You can chop it, you can crush it, you can do however you want. I've got a garlic crusher, but I didn't use it. I used a fork instead, because I want it to be at a certain, to have a certain texture to it. So if you, as you can see, yes, the meat have I'm saying meat, but it's soya, yeah, because it looks like meat. Look at it. So it has, the soya has a moist texture to it. It's moist now, and I've just put the garlic in, and all I'm going to do now is cover it and leave it to steam for another few minutes, and that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the finished product. I must say that the pumpkin rice came out very lovely. We've got the soya stir fry there, and 2 slice of avocado. Bon appetit.